Hey everybody!
Okay, so we're here to do another TBR video, the second one we've done this year.
Yeah, it's becoming a habit, isn't it?
How successful were we last month? I missed one. Sorry, I had to like count that. I missed one. I haven't read one of the books, which is why it's going to show up again in this TBR, but Maggie actually read every single thing.
That's true. Well, if you want to be super technical, I am literally on the last 2-3 chapters of Dragon Pearl, which is the 10th book in my little 10-book pile.
He's going to finish it before the month ends, it's fine.
Yeah, because that's, I can read that today. What's going to change for my TBR this month, and this is something as a sort of, I guess, a fledgling reader, or that is a serious reader kind of, is that, what with the capacity to have so much access to all of these books, you do want to not finish
the ones that aren't
sparking joy. Yes, and so much as I am grateful to have my grubby paws on all of these books, I'm gonna have to let them go if they do not spark joy, and I have to raise the bar a little higher because I have them in my hands. Does not mean that is the joy sparkage we're looking for. So I have an actual TBR which I'll start with, and then I have a DNF run.
Okay.
Meaning, if it does not spark joy in 3 chapters. It's out, it's done, and I will not kill myself for that.
It does not spark joy.
If it does not, well, I will 3, 4, 5. We'll give it a thing. But if I'm having such a hard time reading through, especially since I'm not emotionally attached, I'm gonna wait for these books. Picked them up mostly at BA last year because, crabby hands. And then yeah. So that's the challenge, and I hope otherwise I won't be able to make my entire May TBR. So this is my DNF or die challenge. So I've got a bunch of contemporary ones that I picked up from BEA last year. So we're going to start off, so we're going to start with The Prophet Calls by Melanie Sumrow. It's one of those, I want to say, coming of age tales that have to do with being born in a polygamous cult in New Mexico.
Cult story, yeah.
So it's one of those cult stories. If it's riveting and it takes me away, great. And if it's not, I will set it down and not have to bother with what happened afterwards. Hey Kiddo by Jared Krzyzowska. How I Lost My Mother, Found My Father, and Dealt with My Family Addiction. So again, another contemporary coming of age tale, which is sort of my wheelhouse. You Don't Know Anything, Jilly P by Alex Gino, award-winning author of George. So main character's sister is PWD, a little bit of deafness, or maybe full. Yeah, so interested to see how that works. Alrighty, we have Someone Else's Shoes by Ellen Whitlinger. Izzy is 12, and she is a budding comedian. I do hope this one I have high hopes for. We'll see if I'm able to read through it. And then finally, Emma of the contemporary lot. Emma Donahue, The Lotteries, more or less. So it's about one of those family kind of Christmassy type deals.
I like the cover.
Yeah, she it's starring Sumac Lottery, who is the 5th of 7 siblings who share a giant house with their 4 parents, grandfather, and 5 pets. So she's 9, a very contemporary kind of thing. No magic here, last I checked. It seems like
it's a really cute cover.
So yeah, so we'll see if that's compelling. And then I have, how many other contemporaries? Ooh, these seem to be the magical-ish ones. We'll start with, well, we're transitioning, right? This seems like magical realism, or at least thereabouts. A lot of these are from Candlewick. So Zora and Me, The Cursed Ground by T.R. Simon. So it's a riveting fictionalized account of Zora Neale Hurston's childhood adventures. The Turnaway Girls by Haley Chewins, also by Candlewick. It's about Delphrina Undersea, who wants to sing, but everyone on Blight's End knows music belongs to the masters, and the girls with singing throats are swallowed by the sea. I have also high hopes for this one. Begone, The Raggedy Witches by Celine Kiernan, also by Candlewick. When witches kidnap her dad, Mup is swept up in a wild tide of magic that carries her to another world. Can she reunite with her family and find her way back?
Cool.
So yeah, I'm putting on the DNF run because they seem like candy at a store, and you never know if it's gonna be good or not, or at least it works for me. Okay, cool. The Other Wood, Candlewick Press, also. This one should have been part of the contemporary lot, but I think this is one of those bits where hatred combined with lies and secrets can break the world. So yeah, it does feel like another coming of age tale about memory loss and destructive nature of secrets. I think somebody must have Alzheimer's or some such. This one for sure, The House with the Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. Not from Candlewick anymore, this one's Scholastic, and it says, my house has chicken legs 2 or 3 times a year. Without warning, it stands up in the middle of the night and walks away from where we've been living. Can anyone say Baba Yaga? Not John Wick, the actual witch with a house with its legs. I don't know. And so that's my DNF run, DNF or die. If it does not spark joy, move on with life, because to quote Levi Black, one of the writers that I love, life's too short to read really bad books, I guess.
Yeah.
And he was kind enough and brave enough to say, if our books don't, you know, on that panel, if our books don't really do anything for you, it's okay, put it down, read something else. And with that confidence, I shall venture forth.
I guess I'm going to start with all of the review books that I will tackle, or that I really mean to tackle. I have a lot of them, but these are the ones that I would like to tackle in May. So the one that's being carried over from April is Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. This is actually the book I think I'm taking with me on my trip to Paris.
Ooh.
So this one is, just to review, it's about a 18-year-old girl named Myung, and she's a gomiho, which means she's like a nine-tailed fox in Korean mythology, and she basically sucks the essence out of males in order to live.
Kind of a succubus-ish
Energy from males. One night, when she's done feeding, she encounters this human male, and he accidentally comes into possession of her fox feed, and so she has to track him down, but shenanigans ensue because that's how all of these urban fantasies work. That's basically the entire premise of this book. Can't wait to read it. Forgot to say, this one is from Penguin.
Cool.
Other than that, review-wise, I will be reading Dark Shores by Daniel L. Jensen. Is from Tortine. It's coming out early in May. It is a pirate fantasy, which is always a thing that I am here for. Yeah. So the main character is named Teriana, and she is the second mate of this ship, and she ends up breaking a rule so that someone can escape, and that has really bad consequences for her. And on the flip side, there is a soldier named Marcus who also does something that has dangerous consequences for him in the world, and so these two end up having to form an alliance in order to do a thing to save the world, which is basically the formula of most of the fantasy novels I love, so I can't complain. Next we have The Bone Charmer by Brianna Shields. This is coming out from Page Street Books in June, I want to say early June, and it's about a girl named Saskia. Her mom is like the bone charmer, or like the seer of their village, and when she comes of age and she has, you know, her future foretold, basically, she also is told that she is going to be a bone charmer, but she ends up partnered with this boy that kind of sounds like trouble. And so they're gonna go from there. I assume it's more shenanigans. I don't actually know much more about that book, but I am looking forward to it. And the last thing I'm going to read that was on my review pile, which Maki has already read and we actually talked about just now, is Dragon Pearl by Yoon Lee. It is the next book in the Rick Riordan Presents imprint that has come out from the imprint that I need to read. After that, it's going to be a whole bunch of others, but this is the next one. I'm also reading it because it is the pick for the Dragons and Tea book club that my friends Melanie and Amy host. I will have all the relevant links for that below. Maggie's already talked about this one, but it also has Korean mythology in it, but this time it is a space opera. And essentially the main character is determined to find her brother after her brother deserts the army,
like the Space Force,
basically, in order to locate
the Dragon Pearl, which is a terraforming kind of power that allows you to create like lush, verdant greenery from like barren landscapes. So yeah, so it's a terraforming device. Whoever controls it will probably be the richest, most powerful being in the galaxy, and it's
so great,
so good,
so great,
and it's great.
So those are the review books that I mean to tackle in May.
Shall we go on to the actual TBR pile? Yeah. All right. Now for the books that we actually do want to read. Let's start with some easy ones. And so this is Beatrice Zinker, Upside Down Thinker, Incognito. This one's by Disney Hyperion. It sounds like middle grade shenanigans because she's a spy, whether for real or she thinks so. I'm a sucker for those kind of things because those are the adventures I wanted to have as a kid. And so I get to live vicariously now. And this is book 2. We'll see. I mean, Shadow of a Pug worked very well for me. Howard Wallace, PI, worked very well for me. Reading the second book first, and so we'll see if my like middle grade sleuth genre will fail me today. I'm excited for Dactyl Hill Squad by Daniel Jose Older. This is set in 1863. This is, I think, the Civil War.
Yeah.
Is that the Civil War? Yes. The Civil War is raging on, and people are riding pterodactyls. I have mentioned many times that the only time I can handle historical fiction is if there are dragons in there. I can substitute dragons for dinosaurs, and that's fine. I am also very interested in The Backstagers and The Ghost Life by Andy Mientis, illustrated by Ryan Singh. I think this is, I want to say, yeah, it's a middle grade book. It's got some art in there, but it's a story about, I think, some stagehands
Backstage crew.
Married one. Love them so much. And the shenanigans that happen backstage. So very, very excited for that. I want to read Ransacker by Emily Laybourne, which is the second book, I want to say, in the...
I don't know, it's called Berserker?
Berserker, like, series. It apparently is set a few years afterwards, so spoiler-ish, because I was looking for, it's like, ooh, what's going to happen as the characters, but I think this is set a little bit later. And so it's going to be a total new set of characters so far, and I personally want to unravel the history of, well, what happened between the first book and this one. Because I guess Ransacker is another gift. By the way, this Berserker is, I want to say, cowboys meets Viking mythology. Because people with Viking capacity powers, like, you know, berserkers, for example, are able to, like, you know, Hulk out. Well, not Hulk out, but basically insane amounts of strength and just basically take down, you know, as many adversaries as you can. You've got
I wonder what a Ransacker is.
Yeah, I know. I'm very interested to know. And then, like, there's another capacity where people can build ships, but then you lose your fingers. There's another capacity where you can sort of whistle down, like, the wind or some such, and because they're gifts from the Viking gods. Yeah, but they're all like in like frontier America now. So
again, interesting.
Vikings meets cowboys. Of course, The Firekeeper by J.C. Cervantes, which is book 2 in the Stormrunner series. I really loved Stormrunner. I think it ended pretty crazily. Like, I'm like, wow, they went there. They went there. It's like I've never heard or seen like a book series in middle grade and their kind of, you know, tale there, and now whatever happened at the end of the first book might have to be unraveled, messed up,
might have
consequences that now will result in the thing about Firekeeper. So very interested to see what that is. These Riordan imprints are on a roll, I'd like to say.
Finally.
Now, see, I believe I received this as a birthday gift last year.
Yes, you did.
I do want to finish this book. Especially because I really loved Illuminae and I really loved Gemina. Obsidio is the third book in the Illuminae and Gemina series. This is the Illuminae Chronicles, I want to say.
Yes.
And it's
Illuminae Files.
The Illuminae Files. It's basically a story about how a group of refugees from a colony in space are practically murdered and wiped out by an evil corporation.
Oh, really?
For whatever reasons.
Yeah.
And insane shenanigans ensue that have to do with anything from wormholes and warp drives, and it's just really good fun. And then the best part is the storytelling capacity here is that it's told in files. Whether it's surveillance tapes, transcripts of chat messages between the characters, you pretty much love them. So love the first 2 books. The third book, I remember starting this thing, it was great already, but then life happened. So very excited for this. Alrighty, what do you got, Lex?
A bunch, as usual. Okay, so I have a couple of books that I will be reading with Kristen from Super Space Chick, because apparently we've been on a roll with all of these buddy reads that we've been doing. So the first one that we both want to get to is Escaping from Houdini by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the third in her Stalking Jack the Ripper series, and we both want to get to it because the 4th book is actually coming out this year. Nice. This book takes Audrey Rose and Thomas from the European continent over to the USA. They are on a cruise ship, and of course they encounter Harry Houdini, and shenanigans ensue because there's probably another murder mystery buried in there somewhere, and I cannot wait. I know this has gotten a lot of like mixed feelings from people, so I will be curious to see what we both think of it. We also both have the arc, so we can actually read both endings, because I know the ending in the arc is very different from the ending
wow,
here.
That's interesting.
So it'll be interesting to see what we think of that one. Hopefully we really like it. We really want to, because we both really enjoyed the first 2 books.
Very interesting.
We're also going to be buddy reading Emily of New Moon by Ella Montgomery, which is an Ella Montgomery series that I have never read. I have no idea what it's about. I am just expecting it to be, you know, to give me the same feelings that Anna Green Gables did. It's about a completely different character named Emily Starr, and I'm pretty sure she aspires to be like either a journalist or a writer. So I definitely want to check that out. We're also going to be buddy reading Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames, because apparently we can't get enough of reading fantasy. This one is about a band of mercenaries who are kind of like out of the game. They're a little older, semi-retired, basically.
Kind of like the Expendables, but like fantasy.
Basically, the entire band has to get together in order to help one of the former members rescue his daughter from being trapped in a place that's under siege.
Ooh.
So it sounds like it's gonna be fun. I am expecting it to at least make me like laugh at some point because it sounds like the kind of premise that would make me laugh. So hopefully I end up enjoying this one as much as I think I will. The next book I think I might be reading with Kristen. I'm not entirely sure, but I really wanted to separate it because it's a sequel to something I read with my friends DJ, Rachel, and Kristen back in January. So I'm gonna read The Iron Queen by Julie Kagawa. This is the second book in the Iron Fae series. In the first book, the main character, Megan, discovers that there is this entire world of fairy that she didn't know that they were connected to, and she ventures there in order to rescue her little brother who has been kidnapped by the fairies. I enjoyed the first book a lot. I don't think it's like a new favorite for me by any means, especially because like it felt a little dated, just a little. But I am curious to see how things develop. There are certain like aspects of the story that I want to see develop, so I'm gonna read book 2. It's also really short, so there's that.
Cool.
However, for the Paranormal Book Club, I get to do a reread this month with DJ and Kristen. Rachel read this one recently, so she's not gonna read it with us, but she has read it recently.
I remember this.
Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater, which is her werewolf series.
The
series is called The Wolves of Mercy Falls, and it is about Sam and Grace and werewolves and stuff, and it's great. I remember reading this one before my blogging days, loving it, and I never loved werewolf books, so it was a shock to me to fall in love with this one, so I'm very excited to revisit it. I've been trying to read all of my new releases as soon as possible. So far I've been doing pretty good. The one book that I didn't read quite on time because it took so long for it to get here from the UK is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is her newest release. It is about Daisy Jones and a band called The Six, and is the story of how they collaborated together to create the album, set against the backdrop of the 70s where drugs and rock and roll were a thing. So I am looking forward to this one because my friends Hannah and Rachel have loved this book, and so I hope I love it as much as they did. It's actually also told in sort of similar way to Obsidio, where it's like a mixed media format. It's not it's not like a typical novel. It's in interview format for the most part, so that'll be interesting. Every month I try to get one of my friends to pick a book for me to read. I've been doing it successfully for 4 months, and I don't think I'm going to break that streak next month either, even though I have been challenged to read 2 books by my friend Kelly from Bella the Literati.
What's up, Kelly?
Strange to Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. These are the UK editions. They're very pretty. I know nothing about what they're about because I refuse to like read any spoilery reviews for it. I just know that this is about Laszlo Strange, and he is a keeper of stories and a librarian, and he has been studying the city called Weep, and that is literally all I know about it. This is the direct sequel to it. We'll definitely be reading these in May.
Speaking of May deadlines and why May is important for us.
There is a particular book that we are actually both reading this month, which is quite exciting.
Very, very exciting.
The reason for that being at the very end of the month, I think, right?
Yep.
Like the very last day of the month, the TV show for this book is going to start airing. It's a show that we are very interested in watching. Maybe partly because we just love David Tennant, but really it's also because the story just sounds like it's going to be hilarious.
Neil Gaiman and David Tennant in one collaboration. I mean, the last time we saw those two work together was on Doctor Who for that one episode with the TARDIS.
Oh, right? Yes. Which was a really good episode.
Which is a great, still one of my favorite episodes, and so...
Good Omens, which is by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett.
Yes, and so...
the premise is my favorite thing, because it's just literally like an angel and a devil, who are both happy with their lives here on Earth, now must locate the Antichrist that they misplaced in order to stop an impending apocalypse. I mean, really. Written by British authors.
By British authors, and if any of you have actually seen the trailer, it's just absolute gold already. Like I mean, part of me is like, oh, you know, let's not get too hyped up, but I'm like, but it's David Tennant.
I know.
And I have yet to find like too many, you know, like, I mean, no actor has like a perfect career.
No, not at all.
But I have yet to see David flop in anything recently.
I think we just love him.
We just love him like way too much, and so and things are just so well written for him, and he knows his niche, and he's the devil in this one.
It's so good.
And not even the way he's like he's Kilgrave on Jessica Jones. He's like this menacing. He's just, you know, almost too sure of himself, and you know, it's kind of crazy.
He's like cocky,
and he's finally ginger. So
I know. Oh my god.
That is very, very interesting to me.
So excited. I've heard really great things about the book too. I have this feeling that the way the humor in this book plays out is something that will appeal to us both. Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely can't wait.
Okay, so those are our very ambitious TBR piles for the month of May. Who
DNF or die.
the heck knows if we're going to manage to DNF or die. Read everything.
Sorry, that's
well, or if Mackie will manage to DNF or die, as you just said.
I know.
Wish us luck, especially because at the beginning of the month, well, I'll be traveling at the beginning of the month. Mackie has to travel for work somewhere in the middle of the month, and then we have book expo at the end of the month. So it is a little bit intense schedule-wise. We shall see. Anyway, let us know if you're excited about any of these books. If you read them, loved them, or maybe didn't love them, let us know in the comments. We're always interested in hearing opinions, even if they don't necessarily match our own. And let us know what you'll be reading for the month of May. We would love to know. And we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!